So I'm David Vannasdall, Superintendent for Arcadia Unified School District, located in Arcadia, California, which is right near Pasadena along the San Gabriel Mountains. We have roughly 10,000 students. It's a K through 12 school district. One of the things that's been exciting about my journey with ThoughtExchange is recognizing that I am only limited by my imagination and how this tool is used. So I wanted to share quickly with you one of the more exciting ways we've used our conversations. Every year I meet with our board and I decide on some big goals, some big hairy goals that we want to aspire to accomplish that we haven't been able to in the past. One of them that came up this year was revisiting our teacher evaluation tool. And I just want to pause for a moment there and just let that sink in. I decided I want to revisit teacher evaluation. And how many superintendents say that? Because you know what that involves. It's very complex. There's a lot of involvement with teachers' unions, etc. A lot of different interests. It's complex, but so critical and important to our organization and to our work. So every year since I was a principal at the high school, a deputy superintendent, now 5 years as superintendent, we revisit this. Someone brings it up and says we really ought to update this. It's 17 years old. 17 years ago we created this tool that's still being used. It should be revisited. And every year we get to a certain point where it's just overwhelming. It's a beast. There's too many variables. The work seems overwhelming, and we move on. We come up with other things that we need to work on that are more critical at the time. So this year it was like, this is it. I really want to do this. But we couldn't just keep going about it the same way as we've done for the last 17 years because it hasn't been successful. And that is, we usually started by what are successful tools out there? What are the hurdles? What are all the issues people have, the challenges with it? And we start there. That didn't work. So this year we finally said, let's go in a different direction. Let's do a conversation. Let's bring in ThoughtExchange and let's create some simple questions about interests. Like, what do we really aspire to? What does a teacher want from their administrator when they come in and they're observing them and they're evaluating them? What's important to them? And then the same question to our principals, our supervisors that are evaluating our employees. What do you hope to get out of it? What's the best use of your time? If you could describe when it worked perfectly, what did that feel like? What did that look like? So that's where we started. And so we asked teachers this simple question. As a teacher, what would you most value in an ideal teacher evaluation process, right? Very open-ended, and it's getting them to think about what they want, not what are the hurdles, what are all the issues, what are all the politics that are involved in this. And we did the exact same question then for our administrators. And here was the beautiful results. They were very similar interests, right? Instead of starting at that point where we have all of these hurdles from both sides about what it's supposed to be, by simply asking people to think about what the best tool would look like and what their experience is, we sat down, we went through the results with the teachers and our teachers bargaining organization, and we looked and identified what are all their interests. It was things like, I want immediate feedback. I want it ongoing. I don't want it to be a one-time, someone comes in my classroom, stands in the back, observes, and then that's it. And I want it to be honest. I want it to be genuine. If there's areas I can grow in, I really want to grow. I want data. I want some data attached to it. It shouldn't be everything. It should be one part of a whole picture. But I definitely want to sit down with my supervisor and talk about test results and different data points. And I want it to be challenging. I want some growth. I want to be validated for the work I'm doing, but I also want to aspire to be better. I want someone to give me some goals and talk about that. We would have never predicted that would have happened. We were always thinking of, teachers being on the defensive end of, I really don't want to talk about data. I don't want someone in my classroom. It was the exact opposite. So you can imagine then how exciting it was when we then followed that meeting up with looking at the administrators, the supervisors' results. And we did this openly, transparent with both groups in the room. It was identical. The principals were making comments like, I really want to get into classrooms more often. I don't want it to be 2 observations and then I write an evaluation. I really want to see a whole spectrum of a teacher's year and get to know what that looks like. I want to be able to bring in data, but I want to be able to use it to support the other observations that I'm making, not just a separate, here's a test score and here's this, that it really should support the goals and the work that they're doing together. And that they want to be able to have those courageous conversations without it being defensive, that they're on the same team. And when they can achieve that, they feel like it will be successful. So it was just this magical moment where you have teachers and administrators in a room talking about a tool that has been divisive for many, many years, and basically saying we all want the same thing. Now, it's going to be a lot of work. I'm not deceiving myself that we don't have a long road ahead of what that tool is going to look like, but we are on it. Everyone's committed, and everyone now recognizes that we can do so much better and that we have the same goals and the same interests in mind, and we are going to get there. It will take time. It might be a year-long process, and we'll probably do many more conversations during that time just to make sure that everyone's, that we're hitting those markers that we all agreed that we were going to achieve. So it's going to be hard work, but we're going to get there, and it's because of the conversations around those interests and that it was transparent.